Welcome to Prestige Outdoors, where we make the outdoors come alive.
I'm Bartholow here, just gonna get my gun ready to roll. I like to clean my gun every, couple hundred rounds that go through it. So I'm gonna show you some of the steps to that today. One of the first things we do, obviously, is disassemble the gun. And then first step I like to do, take out these choke tubes. We're gonna clean the choke tubes separately from the barrel. That way we make sure that we get those choke tubes really clean. It's a lot easier to clean out the barrel than it is the choke tube, just because the choke tubes constrict a little bit. They build up a little bit more of that wad fouling. So we're gonna try and cut through all that plastic that are in those today. So first thing we'll do is get these choke tubes done. I like to really scrub off all that old grease that's on there. Then after that, we'll put it in our choke tube holder. And I'll spray it down with some of our solvent here. And then we got this awesome contraption where you can run a drill and really clean out the choke tubes really easily. So this one was overdue for a cleaning, so it's gonna take a couple runs through it. All right, so feel in there, all that buildup is gone. You can kind of see how it's outside right now. So what you do next, take your Birchwood Casey gun scrubber and just kind of spray all that stuff out. This will get all the little pieces of fouling that you just scraped out of there. And then the last thing you're gonna do before the choke tube's ready to go back in, get some choke tube lube and get it on the threads. It's hard to overdo it, but if you think you have too much, you can always take a towel and redo it if you have to. So that one's ready to go back in the gun once the barrels are clean. So now we'll do the same thing with this one. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the barrel now that our choke tubes are done. So you just get some solvent, get where that action closes up, then just take a brush, start scrubbing all that old gunk off of there. All right, now that's pretty much clean. So we take the gun scrubber again and spray that old gunk off. All right, next we're gonna do the inside of the barrels. So this one's the double barrel, so we're gonna spray both barrels down with the solvent. And then we have an attachment on our drill for the barrel. So it'll go all the way through and we'll clean the entire way down. We're gonna spray these barrels out, just get all the old gunk out again. The barrels don't take as much deep scrubbing, just because they're not as constricted as the choke tubes are. But once you get all that stuff blown out, then you want to go down to the ports. If your gun has ports, while you're scrubbing it, you're gonna get a bunch of crud that comes out of there. Just make sure you wipe that off. Every second or third time that I clean my gun, I'll get a port brush and really scrub those out. It's not too bad right now, so I'm not gonna do that, but just keep in mind, if you have ports on your gun, those sometimes need to be cleaned out too. All right, so after you get the ports cleaned out, what I like to do is run a bore snake through there, and that's gonna really get everything that you missed out of there. After the bore snake, this is just gonna go through and get any remaining moisture or solvent or anything else out of there. So we just run that through and it's perfect now. So now our barrels inside are clean. The hinge is clean as well. So now we're just gonna put some oil on it and we're gonna get these choke tubes back in. All right, so now that we got those back in, we're gonna get a little bit of grease on here, just on that hinge, so nothing seizes up on us out there while we're shooting. All right, then if you wanna smear it around, you can. I like to, just to make sure it's all evenly coated there. And next up, we're going to use some of our barricade, just for rust protection. Just a quick spray on each side of the barrel, and then follow it up with one of your towels, just really evenly spread that out. Now this is gonna make it so while it's in your gun case, it's not picking up any rust. So now the barrels are completely done. We're gonna work on the receiver. So for this, pretty much the same thing where that hinge goes down on the inside. We're just gonna spray some solvent on there. Take a brush to it again. And there's a couple different kinds of brushes you can do. There's metal brushes like bronze, or there's nylon brushes. Typically for inside the action, I use a metal brush just to get all that grease out. Then down the barrels, I'll use a nylon brush, whatever works for you. All right, so now that we got that scrubbed out, we just take the gun scrubber again and spray all that gunk out. And just take your towel again and dry it off. Really make sure everything is clean inside there. If you see any rust or anything, feel free to do it a second time just to really get all that rust off of there. All right, so now that one's done. We're gonna take some more of our gun grease and we are gonna get some inside the receiver, just where that hinge is. Nice and smooth when we go to close up the gun. Now that one's clean, barrel's clean. Put them all back together. And that's basically how you do it. I like to clean mine every couple hundred rounds just so that it's super consistent out there. If you get too much buildup in your choke tubes, it's gonna throw off your pattern a little bit, leads to little inconsistencies here and there. So I mean, it doesn't hurt. As much as you wanna get out and clean your gun, do so and make sure it's consistent every time.
Thank you for tuning into Prestige Outdoors. We're so happy to have you along on our journey. Be sure to like, comment, and click that follow button to see more hunting and outdoors content.